Good afternoon and welcome back to another edition of Senator Witkos' Veterans Corner. I am very pleased and proud to be here today in the home of retired Lieutenant Colonel Carl Eisenmann. Carl, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I was only here a few months ago, I think, when we interviewed your lovely wife on the show.
Yes, that's right.
And, Carl has a fantastic story as well. Now, you joined the military just as the Korean War was starting.
That's
correct?
Right, yeah.
Now, why don't you tell the viewers about how you came to be. You told me you just graduated from law school, Georgetown, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And you had made the decision to enlist in the military.
Yes, I did.
How did you reach that decision?
Well, I'm proud to say that I'm a very proud American.
Great.
I love this country. After I was admitted to the bar of Connecticut and Washington, D.C., I decided that I would like to go to the military, and they were commissioning lawyers at that time as first lieutenants, and that was fine with me.
It's always great to go in as an officer, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. And shortly afterwards, in 1952, I was called to active duty. From there, I went to Hanscom Air Force Base, then did some judge advocate work down at Maxwell Air Force Base, and then from there back to Hanscom, and then overseas to Tripoli.
Wow. Now, did you grow up in Connecticut?
Yes.
You were born and raised in Connecticut, and you went to school down in Washington, D.C., Georgetown.
Yes.
And how did you know what branch of the military? Obviously, you were in the Air Force.
Yes.
Were they the first ones knocking at the door, or did you have some family members that had served in the military previously, or why the Air Force?
I was just admittedly partial to the Air Force.
Okay.
And I visited some of the judge advocates in the Pentagon, and they encouraged me to go ahead and join active duty.
Right.
So I was already a reserve officer, so I went on active duty.
And for the people that don't know, a JAG officer is what you were.
Yes.
A JAG is an attorney that serves for the military in the capacity of an attorney.
That's right.
Right.
An attorney and or a judge. That's why it's called the judge advocate.
Okay.
Unlike the civilian system, a military lawyer can be a judge one day and be a defense attorney or a prosecutor the next time.
And which of the roles did you serve in?
All of them.
So you were a prosecutor, a defense attorney, and a judge?
Yes.
Did you like one over the other one? What?
I think I liked the military judge part of it.
Okay.
That was interesting.
Now I got to ask you, did you wear a black robe like they see? Or you
Not
wore
then.
your uniform?
Yeah, that's right.
And it would be in the civil court, I guess, where you would wear the judges, or the justices wear the robes, but in the military court, you wear your uniform.
Yeah, now they do wear robes.
They do?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
But that's a rather recent development.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the cases that you might see in a military court if you were presiding on the bench?
Just about everything.
Everything that would happen
the entire spectrum of crimes.
Sure.
So,
accidental, oftentimes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's great. So now you joined the Air Force. Now, do you get special treatment when you went in as a first lieutenant, or your basic training was it didn't matter who you were or where you came from, everybody was treated equally?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
And then once you came out, you were stationed. How did you end up going to Italy?
I went to Tripoli.
Okay.
I was sent there.
By choice, or they said, no, you're going?
No. In fact, we didn't even know where the troops were going. We got on a C-54 out of Westover, and they told us the next stop was the Azores in the mid-Atlantic.
Wow. And then what was your assignment like when you got there? Just familiarize yourself with the base? And
Yeah, well, that was 48 hours later. I was at Witkos Air Force Base in North Africa, Tripoli.
Wow.
I say Tripoli. Tripoli is, of course, a city. Tripolitania is the province, and Witkos Air Force Base was about 11 kilometers, 7 miles outside of the city of Tripoli. And we were stationed on that base, which was formerly was a racetrack, and they converted it into an Air Force base.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the CBs or our construction crews that would do something like that?
Yeah, and there was a civilian contractor, Crow Steer Shepherd, that finished off the runways and built some hangars and other construction on the base.
Now, why do you think there was an expansion of the base at that time? Because of its proximity and to the conflict the war that we were in, or just they were just expanding bases across the globe?
Truthfully, we were trying to catch World War III before it started. And if it meant going into Moscow with our B-36s, we were ready to do it.
Okay. Well,
That's blunt, but that's it.
Sure.
That's 1953.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And people weren't even thinking of that at the time with the other war with Vietnam, and it happened after that.
No.
And, the Cold War. And it's interesting that
Mm-hmm.
arrangements were being made already. Now I have to ask you, have you ever seen a missile silo?
Yes, we had one right here, had a bone mark right here at the end of, what's the name of that street next to Hot Meadows? Not next to Hot.
Right here in Connecticut?
Yeah. Yeah, it had a bone mark silo right, well, the next street over.
What's a bow mark? I'm not familiar with that term. Is that just what the type of missile that was in there?
Well, the bow part of it is, it was built by Boeing.
Okay.
Bow mark. It was a guided missile.
And how long would it be in diameter? Is it
I don't
8
know.
feet tall?
I don't
have
know.
You ever heard,
I don't know.
Seen them on the base?
Yeah, they were on the base. I don't know the specs, and if I did, I couldn't reveal them.
Sure. Okay. Interesting.
That was a top secret weapon.
Wow.
It was visible, but everything else about it is top secret.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that. Well, you know, sometimes you never know. I mean, things are done. Our military and our federal government do it to protect us.
That's right.
And you don't want those secrets out there.
That's right.
So when you were, let's go back to the day when you were serving. I think it was up at Otis Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And a young lady happened to come into the courtroom.
Yes.
Can you bring us back to that day?
Yes, I'll come forward just a little bit. My assignment in Tripoli was such that anybody who served in Tripoli would get their choice of a base. That was the Air Force's reward for an assignment that most people would rather not do. I enjoyed it, but that's beside the point. I enjoy adventure. But so I chose Otis Air Force Base. Frankly, I like Cape Cod.
I like being a New Englander, who doesn't like the Cape?
I like the islands.
Yeah.
So I asked for it, and much to my surprise, I got the assignment at Otis Air Force Base.
Now, did they have the B-36s up there?
No.
In Otis? Where did those? Where did you see those?
B-36 were at a secret location within the African continent.
Okay.
I still can't tell you where.
Sure.
Yeah. And have you seen a B-36 aircraft?
I've never seen one.
B-36 aircraft is a very, very large propeller-driven with the propellers props on the trailing edge of the wing.
Really?
So it was a pusher.
Okay.
And then Boeing added 4 jets to the B-36, so he had a 10-engine aircraft.
The B-36, the first genuine intercontinental bomber. No aircraft had ever had a wing spread like this, 230 feet. That's equal to a distance from home plate in Yankee Stadium to a point over 100 feet beyond the second base. Her main function was to carry bombs, but she went up well armed with 8 gun turrets, each mounting 2 20-millimeter cannon that could fire explosive shells as well as armor-piercing projectiles. Talk about power. In the late stages of development, the B-36 had 6 piston engines of 3,800 horsepower each, and 4 jet engines, each capable of 5,200 pounds of thrust at takeoff. The big bomber had a much greater carrying capacity than any other aircraft so far produced. There was room in the 4 big bomb bays for 100 500-pound bombs, or when tremendously big ones were needed, the cargo could be 2 bombs, each weighing 21 tons. The B-36 had tremendous range, 10,000 miles without refueling, and a combat radius of more than 4,000 miles. The B-36 proved to be a great airplane, and there was no question as to where it belonged. Right where it was, in the United States Air Force.
Those new engines in the way of design really for distance?
Yes.
Most bombers are
Yes.
long distance
Yeah.
aircraft, right?
I'm talking about Tripoli now when I'm
Right,
saying
sure, yeah.
about, and B-36 did not come to Otis Air Force Base. That was a fighter base.
Did you ever fly in a B-36
Yes.
and take a ride?
Yep.
Now, was it like, if you can tell me, I don't know if it's still secret, in my mind, I picture just a little cockpit where the pilot sits, maybe the co-pilot, the navigator, and the bombardier, or whoever the engineers are in there, and then a big cargo bay where, if there's extra passengers, they sit, or if there's cargo, cargo is, then that goes.
Well, the B-36 wouldn't house any joyriders, anybody else other than the pilot, co-pilot, navigator, and engineer.
How did you get on it?
Huh?
How did you get on it?
Well, if you need to go someplace
Okay.
and you're offered a ride,
Sure.
take it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Wow, that's something not everybody can claim that they were on.
No.
Are they still? They're not in use today.
No.
Are they? No, they're
No.
retired.
No.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So up in Otis, where you served, that was more of a fighter jet.
Yes, it
Base.
was fighter. It had 2 fighter squadrons. Nancy was in one, and the other fighter squadron was the 437th, which eventually became the 60th. Yeah, the 60th Fighter Squadron. So we had 2 fighter squadrons on Otis Air Force Base. Nancy was the security officer, among many other jobs she had.
Intelligence.
And intelligence.
Intelligence officer.
Yeah. And then the other the other one, the 60th Fighter Squadron, had, I think, single engine aircraft.
Sure. Okay.
The 58th, where Nancy was stationed, had twin engines.
So you saw a pretty diverse thing from being in Tripoli with the bombers to being up at the Cape with the fighters. What would you say if somebody would say to you, what was your most memorable occasion at your time that you served in the military? And let me ask you, how many years did you serve? What were your years of service?
Oh, well, let's see. I wasn't fully retired until the 1960s. Wait a minute, 1976 was my
Oh, okay.
retirement.
All right. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so 24 years
yeah.
served in the military.
Hmm.
And what would you say, is there any one occasion that's more memorable than another one that you say, I'll never forget that?
Well,
You better answer right.
Well, we know about the engagement.
yes. Yeah, that was probably among
Sure.
a very, very interesting cases. That, to me, was the most interesting, the most rewarding anyway.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to get a personal benefit out of it, but you got a lovely wife, a bride out of that case.
Yeah.
But out of another case that you would heard, is there something that you just shake your head and say, sometimes you just can't believe that this
Many.
many.
Yeah. Many.
And do you ever see any of the other people that you serve with, or ever hear communication from anybody?
Oh, not in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Before that, there's an outfit which is still in effect, the Judge Advocates, Air Force Judge Advocates Association. That's out of Texas, of course. And, but we just correspond.
Sure. Is the Judge Advocates group a large group? I mean, how many?
I don't know.
I don't even know. In the Air Force, would you have 5? Would you have? You could have 100.
Oh, on a given base?
Or on just in the military in general. I mean, how many would you have on a base?
Oh, it depends on the base. Now, Otis, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 lawyers. In Tripoli, we had 4
Okay.
judge advocates.
And that just depends on how busy they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Is
And
there
of
a
course, you
minimum,
can
like-
always fly in somebody else.
Sure.
For instance, in Europe, in the United States Air Forces in Europe, if we needed another lawyer, just what they call Twix the telegram in effect, and they'd send one down.
Did the servicemen and women that needed a defense attorney, did they have the option of choosing one, or they were assigned one? And
They were assigned.
It is who you get.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Right.
the same thing with the prosecuting attorney?
Yeah, there's some accommodation, but basically it's the staff judge advocate's prerogative to assign the personnel to the litigation.
And how do you move up in rank? Because you pretty much, don't you stay in that job classification?
Yeah.
So it's not like other ones, they take different career paths
Yeah.
throughout the military. As a JAG, you've got the 3 positions you could rotate through. So how do
Yeah.
you move up in rank?
You have to be lucky.
You're a lucky guy. Well, I think part of it's
Yeah.
got to be your knowledge and your dedication to the profession and you know, your service. So that's fantastic. Now, oftentimes a lot of servicemen and women and other JAG members might be watching this show,
Yeah.
and that are currently serving in bases across the globe. If you could pass on a message to them that are serving now, or have served, or even thinking about serving, what would you like to share with them?
Continue your service until retirement, period.
That's great.
It's a great career.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And I know you started off the segment by saying you love to be an American, you love this country.
Yes.
So I don't think we've interviewed a prouder member of the armed forces
Thank you.
than yourself. It's
Yeah, thank
certainly
you.
a pleasure, and thank you
Thank
for
you,
inviting me to your
Senator.
home.
Yeah,
I
my
appreciate
pleasure.
that, and best of luck to you and your wife.
Thank you very
And,
much.
God bless America. right?
God bless America.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Thank you. Tune in next month as we go to another home of a veteran. This is Senator Witkos signing off for now. Thank you.